Hi, my name is Eureka Foong and I am a postdoctoral researcher at Tokyo College in the University of Tokyo. Today I'd like to talk to you about CrowdFolio, which is a project that I conducted with Joy Kim, Mira, Dontcheva, and Elizabeth Gerber on understanding how holistic and decomposed workflows influence feedback on online portfolios. Millions of freelancers today earn their livelihood through online platforms that connect them to paying clients. The Online Labor Index in 2020 estimated a 90% growth in online freelancing projects alone from 2016 to 2020. To attract clients, freelancers must convey their unique skills and styles through online portfolios. As freelancers create new work, they have to curate relevant and appealing projects on their online portfolio sites to attract clients and new job opportunities. To curate these projects for their portfolios, freelancers need rapid, regular, and inexpensive feedback from new, diverse, and readily available feedback providers. But many lack this opportunity, especially when they work outside of support networks like schools and companies. Now, freelancers could ask their peers for feedback, but peers may not always be available, and they might not reflect the diverse perspectives of their non-expert clients. An alternative approach is to hire dedicated professional reviewers, but that can get expensive. Instead, freelancers are left with vague cues, like the number of likes that they receive on social platforms, to determine whether their portfolio represents them in a relevant and appealing way. Freelancers also face this question: how should they collect feedback on their portfolios? And there are two kinds of approaches. First, a holistic approach where you ask reviewers to review multiple projects as a group, or a decomposed approach where you ask reviewers to evaluate individual projects independently. These approaches to collecting feedback on portfolios could actually influence differently what feedback freelancers receive and how they use that feedback. In this paper specifically, we take a look at the potential of crowdsourced feedback systems that could help freelancers collect portfolio-based feedback. The issue right now is that existing systems in this research currently take a decomposed approach. And using this decomposed approach, they're actually able to collect high-quality feedback on individual creative projects. Emerging research is also being conducted to collect feedback on 2 projects at a time. However, we still haven't studied ways to provide feedback on multiple projects in a portfolio. And that led us to our 2 research questions. First, can online crowds provide helpful portfolio feedback that influence how freelancers reflect on and improve their portfolio? And secondly, how do holistic and decomposed approaches to collecting feedback actually influence the characteristics of that feedback and how freelancers reflect on and plan improvements to their portfolio? To do this, we designed and evaluated CrowdFolio, which is a tool for collecting and presenting portfolio-based feedback from crowd workers. So CrowdFolio does this by collecting 3 types of feedback. First, visual attractiveness feedback, or what projects capture the most attention from potential clients. Styles feedback, or how would others describe the portfolio. And finally, target audience feedback, or what kind of audience is the portfolio designed for. CrowdFolio both collected and presented this feedback. In our study, we collected feedback from over 1,000 crowd workers from Amazon Mechanical Turk, who are based in North America. And then we presented this feedback to 30 freelance designers who we recruited from the United States. Once we collected feedback on a freelancer's portfolio, which took anywhere between 2 and 24 hours, we conducted a 1-hour remote study session with each freelancer. First, we asked freelancers to complete a pre-task survey. We did this to understand how clear their professional identity was to them already, and we also wanted to get a baseline sense of how they would describe themselves, as well as 3 tags or words or phrases that they would use to tag their work online. Then we introduced freelancers to a version of CrowdFolio that they were assigned to, either the holistic or decomposed feedback interface, and then we asked them to think aloud as they were using it. Finally, we gave them a post-task survey where we had them write their self-description again, 3 tags that they would use to describe their work, and finally, a 3-point action plan for how they might improve their portfolio. Finally, we had them rate CrowdFolio on several factors, such as trustworthiness and helpfulness, and we completed an interview with each freelancer. The first takeaway is that regardless of how feedback was collected, CrowdFolio actually helped all users understand the gaps between their perceptions and the crowd's perceptions of their portfolio. Many participants used feedback from the target audience and styles pages to seek validation on their career direction. In one example, a freelancer with more than 10 years of experience said she felt more comfortable describing herself as a digital or multimedia designer after seeing positive feedback from her target audience page. She said, "I never think of myself as a multimedia or digitally focused designer, but I think it's okay to be pushing that focus a bit more if other people are thinking that." In addition, we noticed that participants were also motivated to add or remove projects from their portfolio based on this feedback. There's one participant who was moving towards 3D or three-dimensional design and noticed that a lot of the words that people used to describe his portfolio did not match up with that. He said, "From their adjectives, it seemed like I could solidify my specialties and focus." He then thought aloud, how do I make that make sense, other than saying I've done a lot of stuff in different areas, but I'm trying to focus on 3D right now? He then proceeded to, in his action plan, say that he wanted to actually reduce the size of his portfolio so that it could show his 3D focus a little bit better. The majority of participants, about 87%, actually made changes to their self-descriptions after using CrowdFolio. In one example, a participant in the holistic condition changed how she referred to herself by adding several words from her styles and target audience pages. So, for example, in the post-task survey, she said and described herself as a person who creates vibrant illustrations and text designs based on travel and nature. Some of my work crosses over into abstract psychedelica. Finished pieces are good for print and digital products and marketing efforts. The words that I highlighted are words that she added to her description, and some of these words actually came directly from her styles feedback. Although overall, holistic and decomposed approaches helped freelancers understand how the crowd perceived their work, they also had unique benefits and challenges. For example, the holistic approach was unique in that it helped participants understand the themes that came through their portfolio. So one participant with more than 10 years of work experience said, "I really like the cultural activity style phrase. These 3 projects are all from the same job I had a long time ago. I didn't think about it that way before, so that's cool." On the other hand, the decomposed approach actually provided more detailed feedback, but it also could have caused some inaccurate judgments. So in this study condition, crowd workers rated a project thumbnail on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being not very interested, 5 being very interested. And as a result, freelancers actually got a better sense of how visually attractive each project was on its own. However, at the same time, it also led participants to make inaccurate judgments about what the crowd had been seeing. So in this case, this freelancer in the decomposed condition assumed this black and white Instagram concept project on the left is highest rated. I don't know if that's because it has a title in it, or maybe with everything else being in color, it just stands out more. And this is an inaccurate judgment because in the decomposed condition, crowd workers were not shown all of the projects at once, and so they could not have made this comparison between different projects. Portfolio-based feedback systems can prompt reflection on professional identities and prompt changes to portfolios that go beyond project-based feedback systems. We also contribute to a growing body of research on how crowds can support individuals in achieving their personal goals, from writing a research paper to forming healthy habits. Our findings have implications for the design of future crowd feedback systems. First, remember to consider feedback goals in designing these systems. If you want to help people understand underlying categories in their work, use a holistic feedback approach. On the other hand, if you want to make sure that you provide detailed feedback on individual projects, consider a decomposed approach. We show that it's possible to prompt reflections with portfolio-based feedback in a way that's different and goes beyond project-based systems. Finally, in line with prior work, we believe that crowd feedback systems represent only one tool in a toolkit of systems that freelancers actually use to augment their online self-presentation. So for example, during the study, about half of participants said that they would use a separate online tool called Grammarly to help them remove grammatical errors and actually improve the way that they were writing their self-descriptions. Thank you again to the rest of my team members, Joy Kim, Mira, Dontcheva, and Elizabeth Gerber, as well as our participants and supporters, the National Science Foundation, Northwestern University, Adobe Research, and the Delta Lab. And for you watching this video, considering the work that you do or the work that you're seeking, what kinds of professional tasks would you want the crowd to help you with? Thank you.